Well, good morning, my brothers. I wish I was able to join you this morning, but I am at the Sarasota Memorial Hospital Rehab Lab, and I wanted to tell you a story. For 25 years, I had been a licensed real estate broker, specializing in the sale of commercial businesses in Sarasota. In 1987, I used to sell about 10 to 12 businesses a year, made a good living, and so forth. In that year, Bishop Haynes of the Southwest Diocese gave me permission to attend the Shota House in September of 1988. From the moment I left the bishop's office until much later in the year, I had difficulty in closing any sales. There was the attorney who canceled the deal, the buyer who canceled the deal, the seller who canceled the deal. I had no sales for 11 months of 1987. I went out and I borrowed money from the bank, $30,000. Tried to borrow more money 3 or 4 months later, was refused. I decided to put my house up for sale so that the proceeds from that house would pay for my debts on the mortgage, my debts to the bank, and get me through the rest of the year. One day I received a call from a buyer by the name of Bill, whose wife was named Joan. And Bill and Joan wanted to come over and see my house. They came over at 11 o'clock, liked what they saw, and made an arrangement with me to buy my house and sign the contract at 7 p.m. on a Friday evening. At 5:30 that evening, I received a phone call from Bill saying that after he had saw my house, he went to visit another house which he liked even better, and that he would not be over. I was devastated. One moment I had enough money to pay off all my debts. The next moment I was back where I was. I started to cry. I started to walk through the house aimlessly. I knelt on the floor with tears coming in my eye, and I said to myself, why? I thought they were going to buy my home. Out of the blue, the two softest words I ever heard in my life came to my mind. They are. I got up, looked around the house to see if anyone had stopped in and said those words. There was not a single person in that house except me. I went back to the spot where I heard those words and I said, Lord, you asked me to make a decision, aren't you? I either believe in you or I do not. And I said, Lord, I choose to believe that those words came from you and they were not my thought patterns. So I said, Lord, I am going to leave that contract on that table and wait for them to come and buy my house. In the meantime, I had downsized from a beautiful office with a pretty secretary, lots of furniture, and moved into an insurance office with no name on the door, 12 square feet, 1 desk, 3 chairs, and a filing cabinet. No signs of my presence there on the door anywhere. I went to work on Saturday morning, went to work on Sunday after church, went to work back Monday, and at 10 o'clock on Monday morning, I received a phone call from Bill saying that he had changed his mind. He wanted to buy my house, all cash, $164,000, 30-day closing, no qualifications. I shouted for joy and said, Lord, you are a wonderful God. Thank you so much. On Tuesday, I got Sunday's paper, turned it to the apartments for rent, figured out I had about $200 a month to spend on the rent, and went to the Chapel of the Transfiguration at the Church of the Ascension on downtown Sarasota. I take the paper out, pencil in hand, and said, Lord, where do you want me to live? And I heard the words, do nothing. I will find a place for you. And I thought to myself, Lord, how can I do nothing? How can I have to go out and look for a place? How can I do nothing? But I'm going to trust in you. I'm not going to do a damn thing to find a place to live. And I got up from the chapel, walked out the door, threw the paper in the trash can, and went about my business. 2 days later, on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, a guy by the name of Jim knocked on the door of the office where I was resident. I opened the door and said, what can I do for you? And he told me his name and said, I'm looking for Jim Nilon. And I said, that's me. And he said, well, I have this grandmother's cottage. My grandmother just died. And I'd like to know if you would be interested in renting it out. And tears started to form in my eyes. And I said, how much do you wish? And he says, how does $200 a month sound to you? And I smiled and I said, give me the address and I'll look at it later today. I went over there and I was surprised at what I found. I found 29 acres, pure Florida vegetation, 2 large lakes, many miles of water, 3 houses, including the one I was to live in, which was a 2-room cottage. In front of the house was a statue of St. Francis. And I went in there, knelt down on the floor, and said, Lord, is this where you want me to live? And I heard one word, yes. I stayed there until graduation time, where about 3 weeks prior to my departure, I finally sold 2 businesses, which paid for my first year's tuition at Nashotah House and a few small debts. As I packed my car, which was an old 1974 Fairlane convertible, Ford Fairlane convertible with about 200,000 miles on it, getting ready to travel to Nashotah House, I said to the Lord, will this car make it to Nashotah House? Lord, it's 1,400 miles away and the tires are bare. And I heard one word, yes. So I got in the car, drove up to Nashotah House. As I was entering the parking lot to the building, I heard this rumble. It was my transmission falling apart. You see, my brothers, God keeps his word. He made me laugh, and he's a laughing God. And I praise him every day of my life. He wanted me to tell you this story because with this story, I had hope. And anybody who is out there who needs hope can have no. I thank you very much for listening to me, and I love you all. God bless you.